Welcome back to the Charles in Charge Cowboys Sports Report. Just doing a regular video right now. It's January 31st, about 6:25 Central Time, my time. If you're new to my show or if this is your first time watching Charles in Charge Cowboys Sports Report, I implore you to hit that red subscribe button. It's free. It costs you nothing. Think of it as a free investment. This channel's still small. I'm at 388, I think. First goal is to hit 500 subs, then 1,000. 500 sooner than later. Once I hit 500, I'll hit 1,000 this off season. When I do that, guys, I'll be able to put back into this channel with a desktop to add, join to the laptop to have film and graphics, so I can actually, show you things, studio equipment, sound bites, and a call-in line for my live shows. So when there's a lot of people in the chat, a lot of people tuning in, the call-in line will be active, just like Law Nation show. He's the only one that does it. I don't understand. It's like, if you're going to do a live show and you got people, that are participating, at a certain point, have that call-in line active. People want to be, they want to vent. They want to put their opinion out there. They want to talk too. So I will have that out there. My first game I ever saw was Super Bowl 28 against Buffalo at the Georgia Dome. Been watching this team since Super Bowl 28. I'm 37. So yeah, I was like 5, 6 years old. That night, no rhyme, no reason, I bled blue and silver ever since then. I remember at halftime we're down 13-6, and I said one of my first prayers that we'd win, and we win 30-13, and I always make a joke that the Cowboys led me to Christ. But I've been watching this team for that long, played the game my entire youth, been a student of the game my entire life. Now I think I'm all right, and I've recovered from what I now consider the worst playoff loss I have witnessed since I've watched this team. Since I've been bleeding blue and silver. I know Minnesota beat us 34-3 in 2009 in the second round. But we weren't expected to win that game, and Minnesota was a lot stronger than we were, and we were, in Minnesota, led by Brett Favre, and, that team was, loaded. That was by far the worst playoff loss we have ever witnessed. I mean, we everything fell perfectly. The 2 seed, fell into our lap with a 16-game home win streak. Eagles fell apart. Everything went right. We beat Detroit in a controversial, last, minute deal. Title of this video right here is Go All In. Now, that's what Jerry Jones said this week. I say yes. Hell with rebuilding. Whoever thinks about rebuilding or trying to find a new quarterback right now is out of the damn mind, unless you have a quarterback that can deliver, like the Rams trading for Matthew Stafford. That made sense. They had all the weapons. They had everything they needed. And they just needed somebody that they know could sling the rock. You know what I mean? Prescott, it's a good quarterback. He's a franchise quarterback. He led the NFL in touchdown passes this season. This, I believe, his second time. 21, he had 37. He didn't play well against Green Bay. No, he didn't. But the whole team didn't. The defense was a lot worse than the offense. I could say that. I can say that with confidence. The defense was a lot worse than the offense. And the defense started the game off. So go all in. Now, right now, we're about $11 to $20 million over the cap, depending on who you ask or what site you look at. 11 to 20 million, right? But the cap can be, manipulated easily. It's not a problem at all. Quick things that we could do. When Jerry Jones said we've been hanging around the rim for quite a while now, and he wants to go all in. Mike Fisher is the best at deciphering what Jerry Jones says, but he's 81 years old, and he's been talking about his mortality more and more and more as of late. So he knows his clock is ticking. There's nothing more that he would want than to see one more trophy lifted up before he goes to the by and by. You know what I mean? So you could easily restructure Zach Martin, $12.5 million right there. Restructure Trayvon Diggs, that's $7.9 million. Restructure Brandon Cooks, that's $4.5 million right there. Steele, $4.9. You could restructure Dono, that'd be about $2.9 million right there. And then Michael Gallup, I'm pretty confident we're gonna just let him walk. I mean, well, not walk, but cut him this all season. He'd be a post June 1st cut. $9.5 million that would save us. And that would, as you probably have heard, that would pay for our draft class. Just like, in 2022, we cut Lyle Collins. And last season, when we cut Zeke, June 1st, that money became available. Paid for, the draft class. So, Michael Gallup, and it's sad, man. Injuries, I hate to see injuries happen like that. It's sad. He was in his 4th year. He was having a good year. He was having a hell of a year. And he tears his ACL. And a lot of guys, come back from that. It might take them their 2nd year, So, in 2022, we chalked it up to, he tore it late in 21, so 2022, don't expect much out of him. But this last season, he still looked like he didn't make any progress. And Jalen Tolbert looks like he is. So, Michael Gallup, we drafted him in 2018. He was a good rookie. He's been a good number 3 when healthy, but I think he's got to go. Cut him, have that $9.5 million, pay for our draft class. And this draft class, we got to nail. We got to hit it like we usually do. Last year, his last draft wasn't too impressive. Now, if Overshown wouldn't have gotten hurt and would have been a star player maybe, that might have changed it a little bit, but nobody in that we drafted really stood out. Our UDFAs did, but nobody that we actually drafted. 88-11, they'll get paid this all season. If we get CeeDee Lamb paid, sooner than ASAP, before free agency, that'll save us money this all season, because the 5th year on his, option, his 5th year option is like $17.5 million. So we make his deal now, it'd probably be around like 13.5 the cap hit, around that. So it would actually save us money to sign CeeDee Lamb before free agency. Micah Parsons probably around training camp. The salary cap wouldn't move much either way, but sign him now in case Micah has just a crazy ass season and his price skyrockets. Get that out of the way. And Dak, extend Dak Prescott. Extend him. I know there's a lot of Cowboy fans clashing with each other about number 4, but franchise quarterbacks, there's really only about 20 of them in the whole world. You know what I mean? So, and Dak he's a good quarterback. He's not bad. It could be a lot worse. Extend him. The extension will probably run through 2028, but that would free up about $24-25 million. You do all that, what we just went over, and then that puts us about $40-50 million over the cap. Go all in, right? $40 to $50 million over the cap. We have 13 guys that are set to be free agents. Now, I went over this. We know which ones, that should walk with no question. But Tyron Smith, I would bring back one more season. The exact same contract that he had this year. 1 year deal. I mean, this last season was the last year of his contract, but the way it was set up is how we should do it. Sign him back to a 1 year deal, $3 million base salary, all the rest incentive based, playing time. As you saw, that seemed to have made a difference. That and Tyron Wednesdays. He missed 4 games out of the 17. It's not bad. And he played very well. Second team All-Pro this last season. Only behind Trent Williams, who is nobody is near Trent Williams at left tackle. But Tyron Smith to be second team All-Pro behind him at his age shows you that he still got it. I mean, he's coming off one of his best seasons of his career. I would bring him back, 1 year deal. Gilmore, for sure. He'll be 34 this season. I believe he's got at least 1 more year of baller left in him. He is still a damn good cornerback. And Jonathan Hankins. Hankins, a 1 or 2 year deal. He said he had unfinished business here in, with the Cowboys. So I'm assuming that means that, he thinks his team's good enough to go and get what we need to get. So those are the top 3 names and the top 3 for sure. And I would also bring back Jordan Lewis, veteran cornerback. 1 or 2 year deal. He's a veteran cornerback. He's solid. He's not too good. He's not too bad. He's solid. Just what you need. If somebody goes down, he can fill in and play solid. You ain't got to worry about it. He's not Deshaun Wright. He's not Kelvin Joseph. And then we can see where Eric Scott's at, during the all season. We traded up to get him with the first pick in the 6th round of the last draft. So we didn't see none of them last year. So maybe, hopefully Al Harris has done something with him because he's a pretty damn good defensive backs coach. Dan Quinn, as y'all probably know, Seattle hired, hell's his name? They hired a head coach who was not Dan Quinn. So Washington is Dan Quinn's last gasp at a head coaching job. It's him, some Baltimore Ravens assistant, and somebody else. Eric Bieniemy interviewed for the job, but didn't get a second interview. So I think it's a three horse race there. If Dan Quinn does not get the job with the Commanders, he'll be back as defensive coordinator, which I think we'd rather have him than Joe Witt, because with him comes Al Harris. 1 second. And Al Harris is super, super important to our defensive backfield, I think. When Trayvon Diggs went down, he did the best he could with what he had. And DeRon Bland, as a fifth round pick out of Fresno State last season, when Jay Lou went down with that Liz Frank injury, DeRon Bland gets thrown into the fire his rookie year in the slot and balls out, has 5 interceptions his rookie season. And then this season, he makes first team All-Pro. He has 9 picks, 5 to the house. Now, only reason why he was first team All Pros because he had 9 interceptions, 5 touchdowns. But I thought Deron Bland was going to ascend and become almost like shut down, just because what I saw last season, him step up when somebody went down, and then when Diggs went down, it was another opportunity for him to step up. Last season, J. Lou goes down, he steps up, cornerback number 3. This year, Diggs went down, so he has to step up, cornerback number 2, play on the outside. He did good. He did good. He's a viable starter on the outside. I just don't think Deron Bland is as good as advertised as an outside corner, because he made history. 5 pick sixes. No matter how easy your schedule is, that's damn near impossible to do. That's why it's never been done. But the five quarterbacks that he took to the house, besides Matthew Stafford, who had a hurt hand during the throw, besides Stafford, it was Sam Howell, Mac Jones, the rookie Bryce Young, and week 1 Daniel Jones off of a tip. Trayvon Diggs hits Barkley, ball pops up, easy walk in. So Deron Bland, I believe, is a slot cornerback. Believe that with all my heart. If Trayvon Diggs, being that he got hurt so early in the season, can come back 100% this year, I know, knowing him, I thought Trayvon was going to be the best lockdown corner in the NFL this season. I thought he was going to be that good going into his fourth year. But we didn't get the chance to see because he only played 2 games. But if he can come back from the torn ACL and participate in training camp and be ready week 1 100% and trust his leg, trust his knee, and be able to cut and not worry about it and just play free. And Gilmore's back for that one season opposite Diggs, and Bland is in the slot where he belongs. And we got J. Lou as cornerback number 4. That would be perfect. See, a lot of people, when Diggs went down, I don't think a lot of people understood how significant that was. Every team has like 4 players that they absolutely cannot lose. Number 1 is usually the quarterback, if you have a franchise quarterback. With us, Dak, you can't lose him. Cooper Rush is not going to quarterback you, to where you want to go. In my opinion, the order would be Dak, cannot lose Dak. CeeDee Lamb would be number 2, could not lose him. You lose CeeDee Lamb, you pretty much losing the offense. And then number 3 would be either Micah Parsons or Trayvon Diggs. And I think Diggs and Micah tie for number 3. Trayvon is that important. If Trayvon wouldn't have gotten hurt and him and Gilmore would have been bookend corners all season with Bland in the slot, I think our defense, first of all, would have been, we averaged 18.5 points a game allowed this season. I think we would have allowed, on average, 14 to 15 points a game. I think it would have been that big of a difference because we played a lot of cover 1, a lot of man coverage. And Trayvon is a lockdown. He would have taken anybody's number 1 out. DK Metcalf, he would have taken them out. Gilmore would have been on Lockett. Bland tried to take on DK, couldn't do it. At halftime, Al Harris had 21, go cover 14. DK didn't have another catch in the game. Bland's good in the slot. He plays very well in the slot. But Diggs going down, I think, really, really hurt the whole scheme of our defense. That's why at the trade deadline, I was hollering for Jalen Johnson. You know what I mean? Even if the Bears wanted a 2nd and a 4th for Jalen Johnson, who they're not going to pay, give it to him because you let him walk this offseason, you get a 3rd-round comp pick. But we didn't do it. So I believe that was a season changer. And I don't think that Green Bay would have put up 48 points because I believe with superior cornerback talent that can play man coverage, that you could load the box, 7 guys in the box, and stop that run, no matter who you're playing against. Even Seattle, if it's Miami, doesn't matter. If you got 3 lockdown corners, you know what I mean? That's just my opinion right there. But if Dan Quinn does take the Washington job, I don't think they're going to hire him for this reason. He's a great defensive coordinator, right? You're only as good as your last game, they say. But as a DC, his career, he's been very good. As a head coach, he was good when he had Kyle Shanahan as his offensive coordinator, and he controlled the defense. Without Kyle Shanahan, he wasn't very good at all. 2016, Shanahan was his OC. They go to the Super Bowl, right? After that, Shanahan starts to get recognized, loses them. Atlanta's not, 2017 and on was not good. 2020, y'all remember that week 2 game. That's how bad it got. And especially seeing Dan Quinn's last game, Washington has new ownership. I don't think they're going to go with Quinn. I really don't. We're keeping McCarthy for the last year of his contract. Jerry Jones wants to run it back with the same coaching staff. And I believe that's what's going to happen. McCarthy, Bones, and DQ. I believe Quinn will be our defensive coordinator this season. And we'll get that news here pretty soon, too, because Washington has to make a move. They're the last team without a head coach. And they can't wait much longer because the head coach comes in, then he's got to bring in all his guys, his OC, his assistants, from the ground up. So we'll find that out pretty damn soon. But if he does go to Washington and Jerry Jones offers Al Harris the defensive coordinator job and a very pretty penny to go with it, I don't care what Al Harris said. I know he loves working with Dan Quinn, but as a coach, you work your way up, right? That's why that's why Dan Quinn's doing head coaching interviews, because he wants to be a head coach again, not just a defensive coordinator. So, working his way up back to a head coaching job, his second stint, is his dream. So, no matter what Al Harris said, if Jerry Jones offers him the defensive coordinator job, the defense is yours, Al Harris. You decide who's the DL coach, the LB coach. You control everything on the defense. And, here's $10 million a year, whatever. I bet you Al Harris will stay and become the defensive coordinator. I will put money on that. And I think he has the potential to be as good as DeMeco Ryans as a defensive coordinator. Played cornerback for Green Bay, was all-pro, very good, just like DeMeco Ryans is all-pro linebacker for Houston. You know what I mean? I believe he has bright future as a defensive coordinator and then eventually as a head coach. But if not, then Joe Witt is an internal favorite, but then you got to, by rule, interview a few guys. Mike Vrabel, I don't know if he's taken or not. I like his attitude. He knows defense. He played, with that Dynasty Patriot team, 01, 03, 04. Mike Vrabel, I like a lot. Joe Witt, I don't know. I don't know about him. I don't know if I would just keep him. But I would definitely, if Dan Quinn departs, I would definitely do a extensive search for the best man for the job. Because we have a lot of defensive talent, and if you got the right guy at the helm, our defense can be just our defense can be number one in the NFL if we have the right guy at the helm. It can be, especially depending on what we do this offseason. If we bring on if we pull off another trade, Gilmore type trade, or sign somebody of Gilmore status and have a good draft like we usually have, where we have like at least 2 starters on each side of the ball, have an instant impact. Our defense, man, watch out. That's for real. Free agent wide receivers, as of right now, we have Calvin Ridley from Jacksonville. I don't know if they're going to let him go, but if he walks, I keep an eye on him. Hollywood Brown, Arizona. I think there's a good chance that he'd be out there. Now, these guys will be free agents. Gabriel Davis from Buffalo. Curtis Samuel, Washington. I mean, he wasn't always consistent, but he's a playmaker. Tyler Boyd from Cincinnati. Josh Reynolds from Detroit. No one from dropping 2 huge balls in the championship game. KJ Osborne from Minnesota. A solid 3. Darnell Mooney from Chicago. Speed right there. Speed guy. But, I mean, Cooks and Turpin, we have speed. But you can never have too much speed. DJ Chark with Carolina. He didn't have a very good season. But they didn't have no offense. They had no offensive line and a rookie quarterback that, I don't know. He didn't look like the number 1 overall pick. I know he had no team, but still. And Cedric Wilson, Miami. Cedric Wilson. He shouldn't be that expensive. He went to Miami. Got some money. Didn't play at all, really. He is great. I mean, him and Dak have chemistry. I would sign Cedric Wilson in a heartbeat as receiver 4 or 5, whatever. And we all know he played quarterback in high school and college. So he's a great gadget player. You know what I mean? Wide receiver screen, pass. You know what I mean? Cedric Wilson, I would gladly bring him back. And affordable free agent running backs. This is just spitballing here. And this is in order from yardage, from highest to lowest. Top 10 free agent running backs right now. You got Derrick Henry. You got DeAndre Swift. You got Tony Pollard. You got Saquon Barkley. You got Devin Singletary, Gus Edwards, Josh Jacobs, James Conner, Austin Eckler, and Zach Moss. Now, like Tom Downey said, there's not 10 teams out there that's going to pay a running back $7 million. So, you got 10 running backs right here that are pretty damn good, that you probably get on a good deal. 1-2 years, $3 million, something like that. If Derrick Henry is willing to come to the Cowboys for a decent price, and I'd say $4 or $5 million, 1 year deal. I would say Derrick Henry, $5 million, 1 year deal, and plus some incentives. Derrick Henry would be beautiful in our backfield. Beautiful. And if we do that, you want to bring back Tony Pollard. He'll be second year off his injury, probably back to full speed, and he'll have that hammer that he was missing this season. Saquon, I think Saquon's a lot younger than Derrick Henry. Has a lot more miles on him. I think Saquon will get paid by somebody, even if it's a 1 year deal, but he'll Saquon's one of those backs that'll get a $8, $9 million, $10 million deal. Uh, I believe that. Austin Eckler's pretty kind of washed up. Zach Moss, not really special. James Conner, it's a name to consider too. You know, if Tony Pollard will come back for a reasonable price, I mean, he got paid just about 11 million. I mean, 10.9. You know, on the franchise tag. So he played out his whole rookie contract and just got paid this last season. So nobody's gonna pay Tony Pollard $7 million. If he signs, you know, for a reasonable deal, then him and a James Conner or him and another good running back would be perfect. And I'm not ruling out Zeke either. You know what I mean? Elliott, depending on what he looks like this offseason. I don't know how many carries he got in New England. I know they had other backs. I don't think he was a workhorse. But if Derrick Henry is, you know, wanting top dollar, I would not consider Elliott. You know, if Elliott said, hey, man, I'll come on 1 year for a vet minimum. You know what I mean? I want to get a ring. I think we have a team to do it. I would bring Elliott on in a heartbeat. 1 year vet minimum. 1 year deal, vet minimum. I mean, well, 1 year deal, 1.5 million, something like that. You know, with incentives, of course. Incentivizes the player to reach certain goals. You know, those aren't bad. But James Conner, Josh Jacobs. I think Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, and Saquon Barkley are going to command top dollar. And I think there are teams out there that are going to give it to them. Just like San Fran's paying CMC top dollar because of how good he is. Teams like Baltimore, I think, would pay Derrick Henry top dollar. Or teams like Kansas City. Which they're in the Super Bowl. But I still think they would. Teams like, you know, Cincinnati. Teams like Jacksonville. You know, teams that are like right there on the cusp. I think would pay Saquon, Josh Jacobs, or Derrick Henry top dollar. So that's why James Conner, you know, I think would be gettable. And I would bring him in for a cup of coffee. And there are some good backs in the draft too. DeAndre Swift, he played the whole season without getting hurt. I think Philly will re-sign him. I don't see him going anywhere. And Kellen Moore now is Philadelphia's offensive coordinator. Howie Roseman, I don't see how that's going to be a good fit. Kellen Moore is an air raid type OC. He likes to throw the ball at Boise State. He was a quarterback for Boise, right? Yeah, Boise State. Yeah, I remember betting on them a lot. He likes to throw the football. You know, he had Dak throwing the football a lot when he was our offensive coordinator. Philadelphia's bread and butter is the run game with an offensive line. And at running back, Lane Johnson is coming back, I believe. Jason Kelsey that's up in the air, but they have Cam Jurgens to, you know, replace him. They drafted him for that reason. So their bread and butter is their run game. A healthy Jalen Hurts, DeAndre Swift. I believe they retain Swift. I would like Tony Pollard back for a decent price, but we need a hammer back. Whether that be James Conner, whether that be Gus Edwards, he can play ball too. That's to be seen. There's a couple more things I wanted to hit on real quick before I let y'all go. Go all in. That's just, you know, free agent wide receivers and free agent running backs coming up in the draft. You know, we're pick 24. The draft this season, I would go majority trenches. For the linebacker position, free agency. Now, I believe we're going to free up a lot of money. I believe that's going to happen. But for our linebacking woes, I mean, who knows what Marvion Overshawn's going to look like? You know what I mean? Come on, torn ACL. Hasn't played an NFL game yet. We know Trayvon Diggs can play. So, we have faith that, more faith because we've seen him play that he can come off his injury. He might start off a little bit slow, but I think as the season goes on, he'll get back to who he is. Especially with Gilmore playing across from him. Gilmore can teach him how to play, with injuries or, coming off an injury. Trenches. Our draft, our first 3 picks, or at least our first 2 for me, would be offensive line, defensive line. Not in any particular order, but that defensive tackle for who is it? Texas, I believe. That people were telling me about. I just on JC Cowboy Network, I saw some film on him. I think he plays for Texas. Damn, what's that guy's name? But he looks very good. I mean, he's strong low, he's strong high, and I saw some tape on him playing against Alabama, and he's very good. He's a 3 technique defensive tackle that stops the run. Just at a high level, and can also collapse the pocket and rush a passer. We need another good defensive tackle to clog that middle with Jonathan Hankins, and hopefully Mozzie Smith makes a jump from year 1 to year 2. And then offensive line. There's a lot of good offensive linemen in this draft. This last draft, we passed up Osiris Torrance. I know the front office knows that was a mistake now. I don't see them making that same mistake. Schoonmaker was just a wasted pick. Jake Ferguson had over 700 yards this season. He'll be over 1,000 in his 3rd year. I mean, number 87 is going to be a superstar. He's going to be the next Travis Kelce. I'm telling you, watch out for this kid. But trenches, man. Bring back Tyron for 1 more season. Left tackle. Either draft a tackle or draft an interior lineman in the 1st round or 2nd round. And then an interior defensive lineman in the 1st or 2nd round. And in the 3rd round also. If there's another, somebody that was on our board that we wanted that fell to the 3rd round. Or even trade up, you know what I mean? I mean, all in, right? Trade up. Pick 24 and then trade up to pick 26 if there's another, big interior piece that we need and want. Go get it. But as far as linebacker, free agency, and Patrick Queen, a lot of people don't think Baltimore's going to re-sign him. He's like a $17, $18 million linebacker. He would be worth every penny. Patrick Queen would be worth every penny. And then doing that, you would have him as your linebacker number 1. Then you could have Overshawn battle Clark for linebacker number 2 in training camp. And then you can have number 11 just go wherever. He don't have to play off ball. He can. He could play right next to Patrick Queen on 1st down. I mean, imagine that. Having that extra big body in the middle of that defensive line. Whether you draft most likely on 1st down, and then having Patrick Queen and Micah Parsons as your 2 off-ball linebackers. That's linebacking right there, baby. And then on pass rushing downs, you let him do what he does best. His rookie year, he had 13 sacks. Second year, 13.5. This year, 14. So every year he's got to have more. But I think Patrick Queen would transform this defense. And Leighton Vander Esch, I mean, he signed for a cheap deal. I mean, 2 years, $5 million. So I mean, he's only $2.5 million. If he doesn't retire and he recovers to where he can actually play ball, still play football at the same level that he was playing before he got hurt at San Fran, then I would let him play out the last year of his contract. That would be great linebacker depth right there. If you bring in Patrick Queen, that'd be the big free agent, pickup of the offseason. Him, and then Leighton Vander Esch, and then Damone Clark and Overshawn. Then you got 4 linebackers right there. Queen number 1, and then 55, 33, and Overshawn that's number 0, can fight it out for the number 2 spot because we play majority nickel. Jaron Kearse can walk. There's a lot of good safeties in this draft. You pick up in day 3. We're really good. We're really good at picking in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th round. 2nd round, it's hit or miss. We're usually hit on 1st round, but later on our day 3 picks are pretty damn good. And we got Wanye Thomas and Marquise Bell and Izzy McQuamu, you know what I mean? Jaron Kearse, 2021, had a great season. Since then, he's regressed. And then also, if Dante Fowler, is down to come back for another year cheap, like he did last 2 seasons, 1 year, $2 million deal, bring him back to number 56. Because he's good for at least 1 or 2 big plays a game. He's a difference maker. And progression. We want to see Sam Williams, get better this offseason. We want to see Mozzie Smith make a big jump this offseason. He had his rookie year. We knew he was going to be a project. We want to see him make his jump and have we want to see him play better this season. We want to see him make some splash plays, clog up the middle, wreak havoc. And then Patrick Queen, man. Go after Patrick Queen if he's out there. And if he's too rich for your blood, you got that linebacker out of Tennessee that's going to be a free agent that has that hard name to pronounce. He's a good one to go get. You know what I mean? Or if you want to draft a linebacker and sign the defensive tackle, D'Amico Autry, or, somebody like that. There's so many ways that we can get better, and if we can free up $40 to $50 million in cap space and go all in, like Jerry said, that's the way to do it. The 13 guys that we have that their contracts are up, Gilmore, Hankins, and Tyron Smith, you bring back for at least 1 year deals. Hankins maybe 2 year deal. I bring back J. Lou and Fowler also. Biotish, if Biotish don't come back, then you draft a center in the 1st round. If Biotish doesn't, if he wants the bag and, like Connor Williams and Connor McGovern did, they got paid wherever they went. And Biotish has played as good as they did for us when they played for us. So if Biotish goes, I would, at pick 24, like Ben Powers Johnson, I believe his name is, would be a really good center, 1st round guy. Maybe you strike gold and you get the next Travis Frederick. You know what I mean? You never know. And then Lyle Collins, he's a free agent. We signed him at the end of the season, but it was just for that, last couple weeks. He's going into his 10th year. I believe he's like 30 now or 31. Lyle's cheap right now. He's cheap. I would definitely sign Lyle Collins. Sign him to a 1 year deal, 1 or 2 year deal, and have him either be a depth piece or a starter. In 2015, 2016, he was left guard. 2015, he beat out Ronald Leary as a rookie to play left guard. 2017, he went to right tackle because Doug Free retired. But he was left guard in college and left guard when he, came into the league. Lyle Collins is not a punk anymore. He's matured. I would definitely sign him back. And he wouldn't be expensive at all. And he could possibly start. And hell, he could play right tackle, left tackle, and left guard. Maybe he could play center. You never know. He's got the size. He's got, all the intangibles to do it. Have him try out. Have him take snaps to Dak. Could you imagine if Lyle was getting reps at center and was actually pretty good at it? Better than Biotish. Just say Lyle Collins playing center could play it at a better level than Tyler Biotish. That'd be like found money right there. You sign him for a 2 year deal, not too expensive at all. You got you a good center. And then you can definitely draft BPA in the trenches. Get that hell of a good defensive tackle from Texas or whoever, is going to be around. I don't know a lot of college names right now yet, but as the draft gets closer, I will. And we'll talk about that during my shows. But, yeah, just kind of spitballing here right now, guys. I heard Jerry Jones talk about going all in this season. Last 3 years we've been hovering around the rim. Haven't got the ball in, and when he mentions go all in, that excites me. Because all we need is Jerry Jones to revert back to the old Jerry for one season. One season. Jerry Jones reverts back to the old Jerry for 1 year. The Jerry Jones that went out and signed Deion Sanders because he knew that's what we needed to get over the hump and win the Super Bowl '95. The Jerry Jones that went out against Bill Parcells' wishes and signed Terrell Owens in '06 because he knew we needed a star receiver. And that's exactly what T.O. was. He was a playmaker for us. It made Romo's job a lot easier. The Jerry Jones that went out and after Michael Irvin broke his neck just about that offseason, traded 2 first-round picks for Joey Galloway. Aggressive Jerry Jones. The Jerry Jones that traded a first-round pick mid-season in 08 to get Roy Williams. Even though it didn't work out, still, that aggressiveness. This team is loaded with talent. Loaded with it. That game against Green Bay was just horrendous. I don't think that would happen again. Add to the talent. A team can win a Super Bowl despite coaching. We saw that happen in '95. In '95, we won the Super Bowl despite coaching because of the amount of talent that we had. Now, Barry Switzer was not a very good coach at all. Mike McCarthy's a hell of a lot better coach than Barry Switzer was. He can call plays pretty damn good. He called plays better than Kellen Moore did the last few years, this year. But if we could just add some more talent, and if we do that, our roster could look like the 2022 Eagles roster, almost like a super team. Trenches, though. Trenches is where it's at. Run the ball, stop the run. Those were the 2 biggest Achilles heels that we had this season. We couldn't run the ball very well. We couldn't stop the run. That's why for me, in the draft, it's all about the trenches. All about the trenches in the draft. offensive line, defensive line, and then get that linebacker. You do that. Other guys coming back from injury. You still got CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Tolbert, Cedric Wilson's out there. Pick him up. And this offense just had one season under this new system. They're going to go into this next year with a year under their belt with the WCO offense. They're going to have their second year with this offense, their second training camp, second off season with this offense. So you saw how good they were this year with it. They started off slow. First 6 games, weren't too hot. But after that, they took off with it. Number 1 scoring team in the league. How good do you think this offense is going to be with its second year under this WCO offense, this West Coast offense? Texas Coast, call it whatever you want. It's West Coast all the way. Especially if we solidify this offensive line and add that running back that complements the scat back. For reference, who was it? Detroit. They had Jahmyr Gibbs and that other back they had. Perfect complement. Those backs both had over 1,000 scrimmage yards and over 10 touchdowns. First running back duo to ever do that. Running back compliments are huge. That's why Tony Pollard was so good last year, because he had Elliott as a hammer. Everybody was down on Elliott because he was 2 yards in a cloud of dust. But that made a difference. That weakened up the defensive line. It beat up the defensive line. Softened them up. So whenever TP got the ball, his lightning could flash and he could go for 30 yards. So we get that hammer. Bring back Pollard for another year. I would hope. For a decent price. Free up $40-50 million in cap space and spend it. Spend it. The future's now, Jerry. And you don't want to, start getting Alzheimer's or dementia or whatnot, and know that you didn't do everything you possibly could to get that last Super Bowl trophy. Because this is his life. The Dallas Cowboys is Jerry Jones' life. Since he bought the team in '89, it's been his life, and he wants that trophy more than ever now. And I would not be surprised if this season, being at Mike McCarthy's last year on his contract, that's why he's bringing him back. If he doesn't go all in, like he said, all in, baby, spend that money, make some trades, and draft really well. Draft some guys that make instant impacts this season. Like in 2021, you had Micah Parsons, instant impact. And some other guys I can't think. 2022, you had Tyler Smith, instant impact. Jake Ferguson, instant impact. Deron Bland, instant impact. Damone Clark was an instant impact. He had a great rookie year, sophomore year, not too good, but, at least 4 guys in that draft class, instant impact. You know what I mean? Made plays and played well for us as rookies. If we have a draft class like that this year, that'll be even better. So, I'm going to let y'all go. This video is running about an hour. I can go on and on. I just want the Super Bowl to get out of the way. I would like KC to win it. Keep the Niners at 5 Super Bowls. So we only have the Patriots and Steelers at 6. And then Cowboys, Niners, and so one other team at 5. Don't want the Niners to get their 6th. Don't like the Niners. I like the Chiefs. I like Mahomes. And one last thing. Brady has 7 rings, right? Patrick Mahomes has 2 right now. Patrick Mahomes could have caught Tom Brady, I believe. He might still can. If he wins the Super Bowl, he'll have 3, he'll have 4 to go. But Tom Brady took that from him. In 2018, they met in the conference championship game, Patriots, Chiefs, and it was a shootout. And the old GOAT took out the young GOAT in the shootout. Tom Brady won that game. They won the Super Bowl the following game. Then 2020, Mahomes makes it back to the Super Bowl after winning it the year before against San Fran. And there's old Tom Brady with the Bucks. And he beats Mahomes in the Super Bowl there. So, in essence, Tom Brady took 2 Super Bowls away from Mahomes. That, because if Mahomes beats the Patriots in 2018, I believe they're beating the Rams in the Super Bowl. I believe that 100%. If that would have happened, then Tom Brady would have retired with 5 wins, 5 rings, and right now Mahomes would have 4, going for his 5th, opposed to now he's going to his 3rd, trying to win his 3rd, and Brady has 7. It depends on how long Andy Reid can coach, and if he has 4 or 5 more Super Bowl seasons left in him. You know, Andy Reid's like 70. He's getting up there. Pete Carroll's like 70. Bill Belichick 71. These guys are getting old. All right, guys, please hit that red subscribe button. I'm sorry I went long. This might have been long-winded for y'all. If you're a diehard fan like I am, it's not long-winded at all. Please hit the red subscribe button, guys. Every subscriber counts. Anytime I do a video and I look the next day and I see somebody subbed, it means the world to me, guys. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Basically, the video gets a lot of likes. It'll pop up on other people's, feeds, and your video gets viewed more. Please hit that sub button, that like button, and share this content. I implore you. Keep God first and foremost. He comes before everything, even this. Seek Him and His righteousness, and everything else will be added unto you. I am a living testimony of that. I am tired right now, as you can tell. My voice is starting to fade. Yeah, we got one more week until the Super Bowl. Actually, a week and a half. After that, it'll be back to business. And 7 months until the next season starts. But hopefully we have an eventful offseason, a good offseason, and a lot of good acquisitions to go all in. That's what we need to do, baby. Every Cowboy fan would trade one all-in season to get the chip, and even if we and then have 2 or 3 losing seasons after that, we'd all go for that, to get that Super Bowl, to go all in, to do what the 2020 Bucks did, to what the 2021 Rams did. Hell, the 2021 Rams went all in, and they still made the playoffs this season. And they were tough. They 1 point away from beating Detroit, and they'll make the playoffs next season. So going all in does not mean that you're gonna have a good shot to go all the way, but then you're going to be obsolete the next 5 years. Doesn't mean that at all, especially with us. Our team is very young. We draft very well. So we can go all in. We can sell the farm. We can say F the picks. Trade our first, second, and third rounders for big players. We could do that and still be good for the next 6 years. All in, guys. It's Wednesday today. I'll catch y'all guys this weekend. After we hear what happens with Dan Quinn, see what Washington hires. I would prefer him to come back, if McCarthy's back and Bones is back. Bones is great. Dan Quinn, come back. Have your 4th year here. All the players know you. All the players like you. All the players love Al Harris. And make it happen. Dak Prescott has this, thing that he can't get it done. John Elway had the exact same, thing about him, that he couldn't win the big one until he was 38. Peyton Manning, his first 8 seasons. Now, I'm not saying that Dak is even close to the Sheriff. But in Peyton Manning's first 8 seasons, he had 3 playoff wins. 3. Dak has 2. In Manning's 9th season, he finally won it all. And it was because the whole team came together in the playoffs. It wasn't just Peyton. The whole team came together. In first round, they played Kansas City, hard-fought game. Second round, they go to Baltimore. They win 15-6. The defense played that good, hold Baltimore to 6 points. Peyton couldn't get in the end zone. That defense, Ravens playing ball. Field goals, all field goals, 15-6. Then Peyton has that huge comeback, gets the Patriots at home in the championship game, and then goes to Chicago and beats the Bears. So it took Peyton Manning till his 9th season, as good a quarterback, in my opinion, the best quarterback to ever play. Took him to his 9th season to win his first Super Bowl, to get to his first Super Bowl. And he only had 3 playoff wins his first 8 seasons. This is Dak's 8th year. He has 2. So, call it what you want, guys. I'll catch y'all guys later. Sub, like, share, all that. I'm delirious. I'll catch y'all guys later, guys. DC for life. Charles in Charge is out.